Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're doing part 2 of the garden expansion. This is the new area that I am expanding my garden to create more space for veggies. This is in front of my shed. I'm going to use grow bags this year and perhaps change it to a raised bed next year. But this was the quickest option for me this year to get a garden down and veggies planted. So we went ahead in the last video and we chose this spot. We set up the grow bags and we filled them with soil. In today's video, we're going to be building the trellis here on the left for cucumbers to be able to grow up there. As you can see here, I already have the vertical bamboo posts in these 3 grow bags on the left, and then I have 2 large tomato cages on the right 2 grow bags. This one over here on the far right, I'm going to be growing a zucchini, and this one in here, I'm going to be growing bush beans, and over here up the trellis, we're going to be growing cucumbers. Maybe in front of the cucumbers, in the front of the grow bag, I might plant a small tomato, but this area gets shade in the afternoon, so I have to be careful what I plant in this spot. It has to be something that doesn't need all day sun. So a full-size indeterminate tomato and probably peppers would not do well in this space because it gets afternoon shade. The other thing that I probably wouldn't plant here is watermelon, but what can you plant here? You can plant smaller sized tomatoes, so I'm probably going to plant a tiny Tim. We're going to plant cucumbers, zucchini, bush beans, and herbs and marigolds. That's the plan for these 5 grow bags. All we have to do on the trellis here is we're going to be adding horizontal stakes across, going all the way up the trellis so that the cucumbers have something to vine on and grow up. These bamboo stakes, the tall ones, are 8 feet tall, so they will be perfect for the cucumbers. Just quickly explain what I've done here. So I have 5 stakes in the grow bags, 2 in this one, 1 here, and 2 here. But then on the outside, I took another stake, this one here, and we placed it in the ground right beside the grow bag and tied these together. The grow bags are not that deep, so your trellis to be sturdy. And in order to make this trellis super sturdy, I had to add a stake right into the ground and then tie them together. And I did the same thing on this side. There are 2 bamboo poles right side by side. One is in the ground, one is in the grow bag, and then I tied them together. And this is the twine that I'm going to be using to tie together all of the posts here today. So let's get to building this trellis. Now I'm going to use these smaller bamboo sticks. We're going to place them across horizontally, and we're going to attach them with some jute string at every corner, at every crossing. So I'm going to be using these smaller bamboo sticks. They're going to be placed horizontally across all of these. This is the perfect length. These are 6-foot bamboo sticks. And we're going to be attaching them at every joint using the jute. So all we're going to do, I'm actually going to almost like intertwine these stakes. We're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So we want the first one to be pretty low. I just have pre-cut some jute, and we're just going to tie it at every joint so that they are nice and stable and secure, and this is going to make our trellis very, very sturdy. Okay, we'll do the middle one next. we'll move to the end. There we go. So we're just going to do the same thing with the rest of these trellises. And then we're going to speed, so we're just going to speed through the rest of this and finish setting up the trellis. I'm going to be using these thin bamboo sticks. They're 6 feet tall. We're going to be placing them horizontal across these other bamboo poles, attaching them at every joint with the jute string, and that's going to make a really sturdy, strong trellis. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up, and we're going to speed through this. Let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, we have the horizontal bamboo sticks attached at every joint, and this is a super sturdy, strong trellis. Now, I planted my seeds about a week ago, so they are not ready to be transplanted yet. They still have a few weeks to go, 2 to 3 weeks before I can plant them. However, I do have a zucchini and I do have some beans that I can plant in these 2 bags here. I also have a tiny Tim we can plant over here, and I have a couple marigolds that we can throw in. So we're going to do a little bit of planting as well today, and then part 3 of this garden expansion video will be finishing off the planting when the cucumbers are ready. Let's get to planting. I have here this beautiful yellow crookneck squash. This is a beautiful variety. I don't have one yet planted in my garden, so I'm really excited to put this here. Now, this is fresh potting soil because this is a new setup, so the nutrients in here are plentiful. However, when we water in this squash, we will be watering it in with a water-soluble fertilizer. This is a quick-release fertilizer. This is going to help feed the plant and get it off to a nice, strong start. Now, as you can see here, the soil is nice and light and fluffy. We're going to have to water it in a little bit. I did moisten the soil when I added the soil a few days ago, and we've had some rain since then, but we're going to have to water this in for sure. Now, to get this plant out of the pot, all we're going to do is flip the pot upside down, squeeze the bottom gently, and it pops right out. Now, I just watered this squash yesterday, so the soil is really nice and moist. We're just going to plop it right down in the soil at soil level and backfill. We're putting it right in the center of this cage that I have here. And now that the squash is planted, it is going to take off and it is going to grow like crazy. Let's add a marigold to this pot as well. I have some beautiful orange marigolds here left over from earlier planting. So we're just going to pop one right here in the corner of this raised bed. Why I love marigolds is because they help deter pests. They help deter certain pests from the garden, especially around your peppers and your tomatoes. And I just really love the pops of color. So we're going to add that marigold right there. and he's gonna do great. Now, I like growing my squash up a cage. As you can see here, I have a large tomato cage in here. I'm going to just feed the leaves up through the cage and grow the squash vertically. This helps save space, and it'll help create airflow. It'll help avoid disease from hitting the plant, from touching the soil, and it'll help you harvest the fruit and find the fruit easier. It'll also help the fruit to get pollinated easier when you grow your squash up a cage. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to grow it vertically. Let's water this in with a water-soluble fertilizer. I filled my watering can with the water-soluble fertilizer. We're just going to pour it right over the soil at the base of the plant and give it a nice, good drink. This is going to help the plant get off to a nice, strong, sturdy start, help develop the roots, and get the plant established. We'll give the marigold some fertilizer as well. And our squash is planted. Let's move on to planting our beans. Now these are green bush beans. Bush beans don't really need a trellis, but they do need a little bit of support so they don't flop over, because they really do get loaded down with beans. So I have 6 or 8 bean plants here. We're going to put these in this grow bag beside the squash. These are 15-gallon grow bags, the perfect size to grow just about any veggie you'd like. So let's get to planting these beans. We're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to dig a hole about soil level to the seed cell, the transplant, and we're going to tip our container upside down, gently pop out our seedling. These roots are absolutely beautiful. These plants were watered yesterday, so we're just going to take this and plop it right down in the soil and backfill. Beautiful. These beans are going to take off. Let's dig another hole right here. Pop out another transplant. And plop it in the soil. It is so fun to get the veggies in the garden. Do the same thing and water these beans in with some water-soluble fertilizer right at the root to get these beans off to a nice, strong start. We've got our squash planted, we've got our beans planted. Now here in the front of this raised bed, we're going to put a marigold, and then in this raised bed, we're going to put a tiny Tim to leave space for the cucumbers in the back. The tiny Tim will be in the front, and the marigold and perhaps some herbs will go in this one here. The reason why this Tiny Tim variety of tomato is a good choice for the grow bags here is because, like I said, these grow bags do get shade in the afternoon, and there just isn't enough sun to grow a large indeterminate tomato. So Tiny Tim is a determinate tomato, which means this type of tomato gets to a set size, produces its fruit, and then dies off. Whereas an indeterminate tomato, like a lot of the sweet cherries, they grow and grow and grow right through until disease takes them out or frost in the fall. So this is a really great sized tomato. We're going to place it right here in the front of this garden bed. It doesn't get as big. This will only get 2, maybe 3 feet tall, produce all its fruit, and then die off. So this is the perfect tomato to put here in the front of this garden bed. All we're going to do is dig our hole. And we're going to flip our container upside down, tip out our tomato, and place them in the soil. Now, Tiny Tim might need a little bit of support. I'm not going to put a cage on him, but I will stake him with a small bamboo stake if I find he needs support. But our Tiny Tim is planted, and I'll water this in with some water-soluble fertilizer as well. Slowly, our garden beds are coming along. We're still waiting for our cucumbers to grow, and I'm going to add some herbs, but this is going to be a beautiful addition to my garden. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you found it helpful, and share it with a friend so that they can learn too. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.